something that's not going away. It is going to turn a bit partisan just based on the Sam Bankman-Fried's connections to the Democratic Party. But, like everybody's saying, I mean, if the ones that are honest with their business, that have one-to-one backing, they should have nothing to hide. And, we hope that, I mean, personally, I hope that the exchanges, the centralized exchanges will work with us on proper regulation. And anybody who wants to chat, feel free to reach out. But something that I would very adamantly oppose is in any way regulating DeFi. But especially with this, there's going to be some pressure there. I hope this helped at all.
So you expect it to get really ugly for crypto the next few months in terms of regulatory crackdown, yes?
Yeah, I would think it's going to get ugly because just the nuance gets lost on the hill so much of the time. And really the bad actors here were the exchanges with FTX. And I think that nuance, though, is going to get lost, and a lot of people might not see the dividing line.
This is my concern. This is I'm speaking to people, and I've been asked for a few interviews the space, and I get questions for the interviews. Is like the questions show that the retail market still doesn't understand even the difference between centralized and DeFi. So they're like, hey, after FTX collapsed, what do you expect to happen to other DeFi platforms? No fucking joke. I get questions like this today. So it just shows how, and that's what concerns me, shows the ignorance of the retail market. And, they haven't spent the time understanding DeFi. You got people in crypto that still don't understand how to define NFTs. And that's, I'm talking about people that are influencers in the space that have a PFP of an NFT just like I do, that can't define what NFTs are. So that, for me, the lack of education, along with how nasty this got, concerns me about what's to come.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I hope that, we can work together and come up with a way to, educate members of Congress and staff on those kind of distinctions, because, freedom-loving people that also believe in financial freedom, the last thing we want to see is regulation on DeFi. But I have heard some good ideas here on how we might better regulate the platform so that FTX like events don't happen.
Yeah, we've had regulators. My team goes through the entire audience to see who's listening, and they've seen a bunch of regulators. Tomorrow we have keep forgetting his fucking position, his name, but a gentleman.
So Mick Mulvaney we have joining the show tomorrow. I'm sure Cam is quite familiar with who that is, but that is, of course, the former chief of staff to President Trump, and then also he was on the OMB, the Office of the Ombudsman Commission as well. And as well as several other roles that he's played as well. Feel free to look up on Wikipedia. A couple things I wanted to point out real quick, Mario. Speaking about regulators and looking at certain things, former Prime Minister Boris Johnson out of the United Kingdom is now following Vitalik Buterin. That's an interesting development.
Okay, all right. I thought he's following us. I'm like, man, join the space. Don't just follow.
But on top of that, about Caroline in Dubai. Cointelegraph reported that the U.S. and the United Arab Emirates have an agreement on evidence sharing, judicial cooperation, and assistance in criminal investigations and prosecution. So as a result, U.S.-based fugitives attempting to move to Dubai will most likely be detained and sent back to the United States. So if she thought that was a safe zone, of course there was also reports
she's trying to get out of the country. From what I've heard, she might even be already on a private jet. By the way, do you know that in terms of Sam getting arrested, does anyone know or check? Do we have any reports about
an official arrest? No, we have no official reports on
there is. I think there is an official report that he's under supervision.
He's under supervision, and the Bahamian Regulatory Commission, after first of all stating that, and for all of you as a refresher, if you did not know this news, the Bahamian regulators said that FTX was not permitted to be moving withdrawals to Bahamian citizens as FTX had reported prior. And as soon as they had also stated that news, they later then came out with an update saying that they were now investigating FTX for criminal conduct. which most likely means that they're going to prosecute them for moving those funds when they were not allowed to.
I'm glad to hear. Rob, Fidgetal, go ahead, guys.
Extradition rule change when you file a complaint in an unincorporated jurisdiction. So the Bahamas will not be actually prosecuting. They prosecuted so that it can be extradited.
Well, this would be in direct relation, visual, to the violations of Bahamian law, not United States law. This is an entirely different situation.
Again, you file a charge against somebody in your own law so that there is a basis for extradition for jurisdiction purposes if there's no mutual corresponding jurisdictional basis otherwise. So watch, I'll give it 14 to 16 hours.
Rob, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Mario. Chet, Alex. Now, Vigil, you had some good context, but also it's just, again, I want to push this narrative that, like, we're focused so heavily on Sam when, in reality, I think there's a lot more attention that needs to be placed to their head of compliance being Dan Friedberg. I mean, it's their head of compliance, so it's the person that's supposed to be making sure that they are compliant. And two, I mean, one, I don't understand how he was ever allowed to even work at this institution. How someone with a criminal past can actually be the head of compliance for a financial institution that involves billions of dollars, because there is a history with Dan Friedberg of running an online betting site that stole $2 million direct and allowed in the theft of over $20 million from plaintiffs and other high-stake poker players that played games on Ultimate Bet. And so for this to be such a big aspect of what could have possibly happened, especially because he was also quoted in a taped conversation telling one of his partners that the best strategy for dealing with the explosive scandal was to declare that a former consultant to the company took advantage of a server flaw by hacking into the software client. And if that's not the same thing that we're being told in some contexts, I just think it's absurd.
And I'm getting reports, chat, that I'm sending your way. You know, all these conspiracy theories that me and you try to shut down and try to quickly and respectfully move on from. There's an investigative journalist that wants to come on, a respected one, to share my quote. Actually, I won't quote them till we verify them, but very shady stuff that's a lot deeper than that. Includes politics, that includes some big events completely outside of crypto, and that includes obviously FTX. So yeah, the plot thickens massive. And to give you an idea how the plot thickens, guys, before I go to umbrella, just to remind anyone that doesn't know or wasn't there in yesterday's space. So when all this started, I made a tweet when we had an executive. I've said the story a few times. I'll say it again for anyone that hasn't heard it. When it started, we had an executive from one of the top exchanges come in, not an executive, a person that works there. I'm trying not to mention her identity anymore. Excuse me. And she was sharing a story about how Sam led to the Luna collapse. Alameda, Sam, FTX, not sure who's calling the shots. And, you know, a few insiders were pretty upset. And then Sam strong-armed Juzu, how do you say his name? 3 Hours Capital. Juzu. So strong-armed 3 Hours Capital, and that led to their collapse. And CZ wasn't happy. I should have asked him this question when he was on stage. But CZ wasn't happy with what happened. And 3 Hours Capital, when we were doubting the story, and 3 Hours Capital a day later retweeted my tweet, and he's been in the space for hours. I don't know if he's still there now listening. For hours, for like 5-6 hours, he's sitting there listening today. And so they retweeted the story about Sam, you know, playing a key role, Alameda playing a key role in the collapse of 3 Hours Capital. And then the story continues where CZ kept warning Sam about about his conduct, and he knew that some shady stuff is going on.
Kripto tidak mati jauh dari itu.
And eventually, Sam ignored him, and CZ made the tweet that led to not that led, but that triggered
itu sangat menyakitkan.
the dominoes, and then FTX collapsed hours later, and the rest is history. So what started as a little conspiracy theory, and it took me a while to validate the story and validate the person before tweeting it, and obviously it turned out to be not as inaccurate as I thought. It seems that a lot of the crazy stories we're getting now, we're more open to sharing them, more open to discussing them, because day after day we're just seeing those fucking crazy stories that we call conspiracy theories, and I hate conspiracy theories, turn out to materialize, which goes back to the question, and we've asked some of the biggest names in the space that same question, and Umbrella, maybe you can take that question and then make your point, is how the fuck did we let it get to that stage? How the hell? And Elon Musk mentioned in the show the same thing that the Kraken City founders Jesse mentioned.
Ya kawan ya, mungkin itu saya teman-teman yang saya bisa dengarkan. Ya, semoga saja di kabar baik dari berita kripto pada hari ini atau lusa teman, karena market lagi ancur-ancuran parah teman. Kalian bisa lihat sendiri itu, market ancur-ancuran parah. Saya yakin di antara kalian semua lagi mengalami floating, karena kita lagi mengalami hal yang sama. Bayangkan teman, semua pada bearish di sini. Bitcoin ya, baru aja sehari yang lalu, 2 hari yang lalu menyentuh 300, udah turun lagi teman. Sangat cepat sekali ya turun naiknya. Itulah dunia cryptocurrency. Kita harus kuat mental. Ya, makanya teman-teman kalau main crypto itu selalu menggunakan uang yang dingin. Karena ini tuh masih masih baru kawan. Crypto ini baru usianya baru berapa tahun sih? Baru 10-11 tahun dari 2009 teman-teman. Ya. Jadi emang banyak rumor-rumor yang terjadi tentang dunia perkriptoan ya. Banyak hoax dan banyak yang menangis di sini ya kawannya. Mungkin salah satu member juga nih dari Binance. Sedih lah teman, market lagi bearish juga hari ini kan. Apalagi dikabarkan bahwa CEO Tech bangkrut. Bayangkan harga FTT cuma $1 teman-teman. Tuh, full teman. Saya juga punya teman di sini. Aduh teman, hari ini hari yang tidak bahagia untuk kita semua. Hari ini sangat menyebalkan sekali ya teman. Bayangkan dari AT tertinggi sekarang hanya $1. Ya semoga saja tidak seperti Luna Ripple-nya. Aduh. Terus juga koin dari CRO juga, wah turunnya banyak banget teman. Hampir 50% lebih rata-rata penurunan. Tapi tetap dior ya teman ya. Itulah cryptocurrency Highrisk HighReturn. Ya, ini aneh loh. Biasanya kalau market lagi turun, Bitcoin turun pada bearish, biasanya pair BTC ini hijau. Ini pair BTC aja ikut merah. Tuh. Ya, walaupun menurut garis RS-nya naik menurut 1W, menurut 1 minggu. Tapi seharusnya pair BTC itu setiap market bearish pasti pair BTC itu naik gitu. Tapi ini bearish juga, merah-merah merona ya teman-teman, seperti seperti cabai-cabean. Ya itulah kawan dunia cryptocurrency ya. Kita harus dior, kita selalu menggunakan uang yang dingin karena crypto itu sangat riskan sekali ya. Apalagi ya baru-baru ini CZ mengetweet, kita terus berhati-hati teman ya. Nih saya jelaskan lagi sedikit yang memahami hal ini. Jika Anda tidak melindungi kunci Anda, maka koin Anda akan berakhir dengan peretas tapi pendapat yang tidak populer tuh. Tapi member dari si Binance sendiri dia percaya bahwa keamanan Binance ini sangat luar biasa. Mungkin dengan si CZ nge-tweet kayak gini banyak banget kali rumor-rumor yang terjadi. Buktinya koin-koin exchanger aja pada turun teman-teman. Berpengaruh banget nih. Ya. apalagi yang waktu berita beberapa hari yang lalu teman, bahwa si Z akan mengakuisisi dari si FTX, dan ternyata selang beberapa hari dia mengetweet kembali bahwa dia tidak mengakuisisi gitu ya kan. Apakah dunia kripto akan berakhir? Jangan sampai teman ya, karena di sini banyak sekali investor lagi pada berbincang tentang dunia cryptocurrency. Itu juga ada si Elon Musk juga teman. Ini sudah saya posting di sosial media saya ya. Saya mendengarkan di sini. Walaupun saya nggak begitu paham tentang bahasa mereka, tetapi saya paham sedikit. Ya. Saya rasa ini terlalu pagi. Saya di Indonesia mendengarkan Anda dengan setiap pertanda apakah ini pasar bearish. Aduh. Ya. Dan lalu juga si Elon Musk ikut di dalam pembicaraan ini teman tadi ya. Dan jika food Twitter saja dapat mendorong perusahaan kebangkrutan tuh ya, jika food Twitter saja dapat mendorong perusahaan kebangkrutan, maka masalahnya bukan dengan Twitter kriptonya tuh, tetapi dengan perusahaannya. Betul, kayak si Elon Musk ini ya kan, yang tadi tuh yang gambar FTX ya, CEO dari FTX sendiri, si Sam ya teman ya, Bang Sam lah nyebutnya ya. Lalu banyak banget food Twitter ya dengan menyebutkan tweet-tweetan yang nggak enak didengar gitu ya, bisa perusahaan tuh bangkrut, exchange itu bangkrut gitu loh. Aneh gak sih? Masalahnya pertama tuh dari si Z dan si Sam, dari CEO FTX sendiri teman, yang beradu argumen gitu ya. Ya, sebenarnya ini bukan masalah perusahaan yang kebangkrutan, masalahnya dengan Twitter kriptonya. Maksudnya masalah dengan perusahaannya. Berarti perusahaan tuh nggak kuat kawan menerima beban ini ya kan. Ini saya mendengarkan jam 4 pagi loh teman. Luar biasa banget ya. Ini juga ya, semoga saja ada berita terbaru teman ya pada hari esok. Hari ini kita lagi sedih bersama-sama, market bearish. Oke teman, mungkin itu saja ya informasi pada hari ini. Kalian bisa menonton video ini, bisa kalian terjemahkan ya. Inilah teman kripto Highrisk HighReturn ya. Oke teman ya, selalu jujur kawannya. Saya buat video kayak gini hanya mengasih sebuah edukasi kalian semua. Berhati-hatilah dalam berinvestasi dan bijaklah dalam mengelola keuangan. Oke teman-teman.